I'll start us off with an intro. We could do what we did last week, right? Edit the kind of start down.
I think so.
Nice.
I think we're live. There we are. Nope, that's an older one.
Not that I don't like watching us. I think we are live right now.
I think so.
For those two of you watching, thank you.
Bear with us.
You haven't heard that before, have you?
Not on this channel, that's for sure.
All right.
There
Well,
we go.
is it?
Here we
All
are.
right. Okay.
I want to start off with saying thank you, everybody. We're at 3,100 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. That happened. So thank you, everyone, for hitting that subscribe button.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Tonight, Colin wants to thank everyone. I want to apologize for starting later. We had a long, just work day, both Colin and I,
Yeah.
and then this was a lot of TV to get through. But not in
It's
a bad
almost
way.
3 hours,
Yeah.
right?
By the time everything
I
gets
guess
done.
we cut out all the credits, so that's quite a bit of time. So I guess 2.5 hours, but it was a long stretch, especially for the first hour.
Yes.
That this arc was pretty good. I'll give you that. It was pretty good.
So
It was fun.
for those of you joining us for the first time,
Yep.
because we're treated just like we've got some new fans. I'm Ryan. This is Colin. We do Duel of
Uh-huh.
the Fans. We talk Star Wars. And Colin, as an avid Star Wars fan, has not watched Andor. And he has heard from a lot of people that Andor is
The
great, the
best.
best. So we've decided we're going to rewatch it together. So well, I've watched it once. He's going to watch it for the first time.
Have you only ever seen it once?
Yes, I haven't gone back.
Wow.
I,
It's
I
not
think
that good then, eh?
I think it's an event. I don't think I've sat and watched it in this capacity.
Yeah.
Um, like I've watched moments like we'll talk about. So what we did for tonight's viewing is we broke it down into what was called the Aldhani arc.
Yeah.
So this is we're gonna talk spoilers. So this is a uh heist essentially.
Hmm.
So we had the first arc, which is kind of the introduction of the characters, and then this arc is the rebel plan.
Yeah.
And what do they plan on doing? What is the
They're robbing Imperial garrison for the quarterly pay for everybody in the sector. So that's a pretty big pot that they're going for, that's for sure. Um, I love heists, especially lately. For some reason, I've been
okay?
watching on YouTube all the different like heist videos and everything. I like heists. I think they're great stories. I think this one, it was fun to watch. Definitely, people are gonna hate me in this episode so much. It could have been executed better. I feel
Really?
like
Okay.
the plan stage was very boring. I just watched a movie. It's called Lift. It's got Kevin Hart and a few other people, and they steal art. And their planning just is so exciting. It's like getting you hyped up for where this one felt more like everyone's just kind of backstabbing each other and like, no, I guess not backstabbing each other. Like there was no trust, so they're trying to build trust and get to know each other. But I feel like if you're building up for a heist, that may not be the best play to go. I don't know. I just like it was good. It was decent. It was entertaining. But it definitely wasn't like the best heist story. And
Okay.
it definitely like that first episode was boring. It was long. It was like 50 minutes, and it was boring. Like I was just
Okay.
like, when's it gonna end? And the second one felt like it flew by. And I don't know if it was a lot shorter or if just like it was more entertaining. And the third one was good. I don't like how it ended. Because we've talked about how this is like it's set in segments. So again, I don't know how we're going to carry into the next segment, even though it's like the next episode or segment. I just feel like that was not the way to end that heist. Like, I don't know what a better ending would be. I wasn't satisfied at the end of that. I
Okay.
was kind of like, what the hell? Like, there should be more. Either there should have been less. Like, we should have ended like right as the ship got out of that whatever, or there should have been more. Like, I felt like there was like a weird in between stage where maybe it just wasn't the best way of leaving us on like that cliffhanger.
Okay.
Again, I'm all about those cliffhangers. I'm about that like get us in here next week. Get us in here next week. And obviously we're watching the show after, so we could watch the next episode right now,
So
but
we
that's not
watched
the
this
point,
arc. So
right?
when it was before, I mean, you had to take each one of these episodes
Exactly.
bit by bit. I think there was a bit more excitement built up, maybe waiting week to week in this
Possibly.
instant. Um,
Man,
just
that first episode would killed it again for me though. Like and so the first arc, we went through that, and I said the first episode was super weak.
okay.
We're in arc two. The first episode just felt super weak again.
So
I'm
what
like,
did
so
you like
what's the?
about it? Like there was
It
some.
was just so boring. Same with the first episode. Like, there's no excitement. There's no like, hey, you need to watch this. And like, I don't know, maybe it's just because we're all scrolling on shorts and TikTok and whatever, our attention span's gone. But I'm just like, there's no like keep me entertained. I was just like, come on, like,
See, I think maybe I enjoyed it for that reason. Like I found it was a deeper take. Um, this whole show is a deeper take on the rebellion
yeah.
and what is a rebellion and what starts it, what causes it, what furthers these people.
It feels a lot
Um,
more personal than
you said that,
regular
and
Star
it
Wars.
absolutely is. Like this is a
Yeah.
very much a little story of we're learning of a small group. There was seven of them, and this they planned this massive heist, and this heist is extremely elaborate. It's excessively planned, and it's like meticulously carried out. Um, there's a big investment in this, and so we realize that like Luthen's connection to like this is his heist, and then we realize his connection to Mon Mothma. Like we're realizing like there's there's smaller pieces of a bigger cog essentially. Like there is smaller um working that is essential within this bigger.
I feel like they could have done a better way of making it feel like it was super planned out too. Um, like when Buddy got crushed and they were like, "We have a contingency doctor, but should we go to him?" Well, if you've got it lined up, then it's not even a question. You've already
But it turns
planned
out
for
he
that.
died. Like in all reality, like he did.
Yeah, but they if that was in the plan,
Mhm.
then it shouldn't have been like, do we take him there? Like it should have
But
been like, he's alive, doctor, go.
they were
It's safe. It's
they
in
were
the plan.
arguing that like he wasn't necessarily alive. Like the whole push was that Vel was like he's done.
Mm,
Like there's nothing we can do. Like he's going to die.
yeah,
And that other guy was like, no, we need to stop and do this. And I think what Andor realized is that guy was like, we're doing it for this kid, right? He said that. He goes
yeah,
like, this is the reason why we're doing it. This is the rebellion.
yeah,
So then they're sitting outside together and he's like, I lied to you. I don't even have a brother. I don't care about any of this. I'm just in it for myself.
yeah,
Let's you and me take the money. It was part of his like, let's land this ship.
yeah,
So now I can just kind of overpower everyone and like
yeah.
so you saw that like he was a rebel, but he said it like I rebel against everyone.
And that was interesting. That was a cool twist. I liked that for sure. Um,
The way Andor just quick draws on him.
that was weird. That was like threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that, which is good. Keeps you like, whoa, what the hell?
Did
But
you expect as many of the crew to die during the
kind of.
heist?
I definitely knew Buddy was gonna die. Like the nerdy kid. Like I was like,
Nemec?
yeah, I was like, I called it an episode before. I think I was just like, I got a feeling this guy ain't gonna make it.
Well, we're learning like who's expendable and who's like
I don't like how they left that. uh what's her name? The
Val. Oh,
no, starts with a C.
Sintra
Cinta.
or Sintra.
Yeah, I don't like how they left her on the planet. I feel like the plan was not very well thought through. If that was,
Well, that was part of it that she would have escaped onto the planet after. Like they needed someone to hold that place down and then just walk away.
then it wasn't thought through.
No, that was the
They need,
execution.
yeah, but then they needed like,
There's
there's
always
other ways. You have droids. You have like, there's other ways.
well,
There's
we'll
other ways.
see. Andor 2 is about getting a droid, but we see that, like, in any heist movie, there's someone that always, like, walks away. Like, that final, like,
Yeah,
walks out of the heist.
someone screws over the group.
But
I guess they
in this
follow that
instance,
typical.
no one, everyone was for themselves. Everyone was for the crew during the crew.
Yeah,
And then when it came down to it, like, when that guy realized, like, what did he say? There was 80 million?
yeah,
So we had a tough time putting that in perspective. In the Star Wars universe, you can buy a brand new X-Wing for 150,000 credits,
yeah,
and you can buy a Mon Cala class starship for a million credits.
yeah,
So 80 million credits gets you a lot of ships. It gets you
yeah,
a fleet. It gets you a rebellion. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like it buys you base on Hoth.
yeah.
So like I am enjoying to see like where does this rebellion stuff come from?
And
Now
that's cool. Yeah,
we see the Mon Mothma that like she's creating funds and funneling money through organizations to pay for this. Like she knows like changes need to happen.
yeah,
So she's disconnected by Lutheran, but like they're the same. They're for the cause. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Val is for the cause, and then it's the ground level people like they might not be for the cause. Andor wasn't for the cause.
yeah. Queen Fireheart said Colin wishes it was a Steven.
Soderbergh. So,
Yeah,
Ocean's 11, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah. Um,
exactly. I feel like there could have been more excitement to like.
this was more realistic and grounded. That's what the show is.
Yeah, but that's not what Star Wars is, bro. Star Wars is a space fantasy. It's a fantasy.
This is a fantasy.
No, this
So
isn't. This is like
that Nemec,
this is an emotion story. This is I don't trust
that's what
you.
this is. Nemec writes that book being like, this is what the rebellion is. It's this uprising. It's this pursuit for justice. It's this pursuit for freedom.
Yeah.
It's this, and we're seeing it from the side of like how the Empire takes over. So like the Empire has taken over that Morlana one. Like there's no more security force. All those people are out of jobs, and now the Empire controls it. Like they're just this tyrannical force. Like you need this rebellion, and like I'm enjoying that you're seeing this like philosophical like kind of view at it. Like this is what a rebellion is. It's standing up against these people. It's standing up against the system. And it's like, what is the system? And like we're getting to see it. Like every Imperial we see in this show is like your typical Imperial. Like they're a piece of that we don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're just really good at being bad.
Yeah.
Even that ISB agent, the with her I forget her name right now, but she's got the sidekick that you like.
Yeah.
Their kind of pursuit for that whole like now like there's the ISB is doing this job keeping the Empire safe, but they're like fighting amongst themselves. Like everyone wants a position.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a title and a claim and a name, and they want to be something among this like nameless organization.
I do like how you said that.
Yeah.
I do like how you said like everybody feels like they're fighting for themselves, and then throughout the show, like the one guy, he's like, "We got to go downstairs to the mine," and the other guy's like, "But we're gonna miss the eye," and it's like, "Oh, he just wants to see the damn eye."
Right?
Like,
So you think about like that place, that Aldhani base, those they even say that, like no guard wants to be there. There's no
yeah,
action, like there's no war right now. Like
there's
they're
nothing
just
but the eye.
they're holding this field. They've moved people off their lands, gotten rid of like this, ceremonial land just so they can have a military base
Yeah,
because it's a holdover for supplies in the galaxy.
yeah,
They said like it's not important, it's not far enough to be important, and it's too close to be. You know what I mean? It's just like a system. It's a nothing system,
yeah.
and the Empire is destroying the people and their way of life.
Pride and arrogance are still really big themes for the Empire. Yes, they are, especially here.
Well,
Like that's shown a lot in these 3 episodes, right?
there's
Like,
that subreddit, "The Empire did nothing wrong." This show shows you that the Empire did something wrong.
yeah.
Like it's just a corrupt, inept system.
I think they just don't care. Like they're just in it for themselves, right? Like,
Everyone's in pursuit of their own goal. So even in the ISB agents, uh, the leader that we've seen right now, he's the Maester from Game of Thrones. Um, he's like very matter of fact and like to the point, and like we're done here. Like walks away.
yeah.
Like he's just following things to a T because he just wants to move further up.
I always thought that like a lot of Imperials, especially like officers as well, like we're working out of fear and not so much like gain, like personal gain. Like, hey, I might have a big house and a nice
Yeah,
speeder, and but like this makes me kind of feel like it's the opposite way. Like I always just thought Imperials like were recruited, like hey, you're gonna be a trooper. There ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it.
okay.
Uh, and then you're not gonna say no because you're just gonna die,
Well,
right? Like,
so he says that he goes like, we're picking officers for this program. He said
mm,
he goes like, when he's talking to her, he admires what she's doing. He wants that kind of person, so he is handpicking. That's what I want this organization to be.
yeah,
I don't want this to be like the nothing. I want this to be like the people that have pursuits
that
and wants and
care.
desires, because by them getting fulfilled, they'll do what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they'll get results to further themselves.
Um, I still don't think that this is what you should start someone off in Star
Okay,
Wars.
so Tony Gilroy, the writer, producer, creator of this, has said, we believe, that this show is meant that you don't need any background, history, or viewing or knowledge. It's meant to be a show that you can just get people into. I love this show. I was so excited the entire night. Everything, every little like interaction, every little like just loving it. And I know it's not like the big bombastic like space battles, but it all leads up to Rogue One. You know what I mean? This is how we got like a rebel fleet to attack Scarif.
Yeah. I think, of course, the creator is going to say, hey, this is a great show for everybody to get into Star Wars to. Of course, you're going to promote your show and be like, hey, everybody watch it, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, watch it, right? Like,
They knew that this one, like the goal of this was to get more fans. Like an Obi-Wan Kenobi series or Ahsoka isn't meant to get more fans, I would think. It's meant to do fan service and fans.
crazy opinion here. I think both of those are better shows than Andor so far.
So to the four of you watching right now, um, you are my witness. He believes that
I still
Kenobi is
think
better than
Kenobi.
Andor.
I think the last two episodes of Kenobi are trumping Andor so far. Like the first four were weak. Everybody knows that.
Okay, so what Queen is saying here, being able to watch the show without knowledge and the show being an intro are two different things. Um, yes and no. Don't they go hand in hand? For it to be an intro, it's best that you don't need to know anything. Like you could show someone Marvel Infinity War or Endgame, but it's so much more impactful if you show the other movies. Like if you just
That's an
showed someone,
interesting statement. Because I'm like, everybody has knowledge of Star Wars. Like, it's almost impossible to find someone who doesn't have any knowledge of Star Wars,
I know people
right?
who've
So,
never seen the Star Wars.
yeah, never seen it, but everybody
They
knows who
Star
Darth Vader
Wars.
is. Everybody knows who Yoda is. Everybody knows who Mandalorian is now, right? So it's like
We know
people,
these characters, but like
a
they might.
lot of people know I am your father, right? Like Star Wars is so iconic that there's parts of civilization such as quotes, and you can't go into a friggin' grocery store without seeing a Star Wars theme something or a Marvel theme something, right? Like they're everywhere. People know the characters. People know. So like having no knowledge is like near impossible nowadays. But I think the intro has to be something that's like impactful and true to Star Wars. So I don't like. I'm doubling down on what I said last week. I don't think anything should be an intro but one of the first six movies. And then I think it should be something that's like super impactful. Like maybe don't even show them one or four. Maybe show them three or five or six or, in my opinion, two or one.
Does
Like,
starting an empire just throw someone in the middle of nowhere?
yeah, but I think like you need to show like someone that maybe if they haven't watched Star Wars yet, then they're not interested in it like someone like we are, right? Like
Okay, so we've had this talk. What do you define Star Wars as? Like, if you had to like a 10-word description, like what are those key words that makes up Star Wars to you? Like to me, like I'll go first. Like it's fantasy.
Yep.
It's this use of technology. I was talking about it tonight. I love that these data pads only have so much information, or these devices are very specific because it feels like the Empire has controlled all this technology and they're limiting what people
Yeah.
want. So it's like, oh, you need a data pad to read this book. Like it's just this.
Yeah.
How you need it's just this. You don't have a one all device like it. So I like these limitations and like how they're writing them into the universe. The Lutheran, I love the sets, the costumes, the sign, like being in that office of his, and like you were picking out like, oh, that's Star Killer's outfit, and
Yeah.
like, oh, that's Sith Hollow. You know what I mean? So it's these iconic visuals, these props and stuff. So it's like the fantasy, the setting, the props, the characters, the adventure. So to me, it's the adventure. And right now, I'm just watching Cassie Andor's adventure. I'm watching this guy who is like a no good scoundrel.
Yeah.
So that's what you would say he is. And like this adventure he's on right now. And the adventure is like getting involved with this rebellion that he doesn't really believe in, but he just wants to get paid.
Yeah. So those are all great points, and some of them are going to be the same. But to me, Star Wars is a lot like The Princess Bride, where it's everything. It has everything. It has the good parts of every story. It has a love story. It has action. It has crazy old space wizards. It has space battles. We have amazing settings, alien diversity, planet diversity. We have endless parts that make up a good story. Like it has a little bit of everything, like the tragedy, the love story, the action, the mystery. Like it's got it all. Like it's a little bit of every story where this isn't that. It's got some politics and
Okay.
some cool action, which we've very yet to see. Like we've seen some blaster shots, but there hasn't been like an all out brawl that's been pretty cool. So there, it's not an action. so far. It's not an action thing. It's like a adventure. I
Yeah.
would say it's an adventure story and not so much an action thing. It's not a love story. There's no tragedy. I didn't feel for these guys dying
No.
today. Like,
But you see, what starts Andor on this path was the first thing he's doing.
well, he killed those two officers.
What was he doing? Well, how did he end up on that planet? He's looking for his sister.
Yeah,
Like a love story doesn't necessarily need to be like,
sure. But we haven't gone back to that at all.
but that's where I mean that's what's driving him. Like we're just taking him in
Still,
steps through. To me, Andor feels like a Skyrim or an Elder Scrolls. Like we have a big objective. The big objective was find my sister, but like, oh, I keep getting along the way like other quests and other things I have to do
yeah.
that lead me to there. So things like space battle. Like I don't hype it up, but like it was in a
Maybe.
trailer.
Oh my God, you just made me realize something. Maybe that's why I don't like it. I can't play long RPGs anymore because I just can't get into them because it's too much of that. I don't want to do all these stupid side quests to be powerful enough to go into mission number 3. I don't want to do it. I'd rather do them after if like it's
As
just
you're powerful.
it's not my type of game anymore. And I'm like, is that why I don't like Andor? Because yeah, you're right. It is a Skyrim kind of side quest thing. We have to catch up on comments here though.
Okay.
You want to read them out?
Okay. So this is going back to the comment about being able to watch the show without knowledge and the show being an intro are two different things. That's a bad example. A Marvel equivalent would be you could watch She-Hulk on its own without having to watch MCU saga. Um, yes and no. I don't think like Daredevil showing up hits nearly as hard or like
If you don't know who Daredevil is.
yeah, if you haven't seen that, like, and if you don't know anything else about Marvel, the whole like Feige robot thing doesn't, and like the fourth wall breaking.
Bro, that show is so stupid all
I
over.
enjoyed it.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
absolutely.
Um,
You
I
should be able
think
to watch a
I
show and
think
not
too
give a
though,
shit
like
about Star Wars. Oh, sorry.
that like
Sorry.
that's not what the show's about. The show wasn't about the cameos, right? And I'm not looking at it like, oh, that's fan service because Daredevil was in it. I'm like, that's cool for the diehard fans that like it, but like I think that's what you're saying. Like it's not about the Daredevil. It's like it's kind of a standalone show, you know? So that's what Andor is too, right? But we're not here for the cameos. Like we haven't really seen any yet. We got Mon Mothma, but no one really cares. Like it's Mon Mothma. No one ever has been like, oh my god, Mon Mothma.
I was excited
It's like,
tonight.
oh my goodness. But like Luke Skywalker was a cameo, right? Like
Yeah, but if you do that all the time, it loses the impact.
exactly. But like we're not. That's not why we're watching the show. Is to see the cameos. We're watching it for the show. And like so, where
Do you like the cameos in Ahsoka?
yeah, because I'm a diehard fan, and that's what I think the cameos are for. I don't hate the cameos, but I think a lot of people do hate the cameos, and I'm like,
You
well,
got both. You are in tonight.
you can't look. We barely even saw that guy. I didn't even see him.
He
You
talks
were just
later.
like, there he is, and I was like, I didn't even see him. Um, but like, we're not like when I watch Ahsoka or whatever that is full of these cameos. I'm not watching it for the cameos. I'm watching it for the story, and I enjoy the cameos because I'm a Star Wars fan, which is who they're put in there for. They're not put in there for the new people that are watching Star Wars. They're put in there for us. And I think a lot of people are like, this show is crap because of fan service. And I'm like, well, it's only fan service if you like jump on the fan service bandwagon. I'm like, it's Star Wars, and we're tying the universe together by bringing characters in and like seeing Boba and Mandalorian. You can't tell me that wasn't super freaking cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that wasn't fan service. Like sure, if you want to jump on the fan service bandwagon, then it was fan service. But it's like that was also just a really awesome scene of Boba Fett that we all wanted and needed, and you know what I mean? Like,
I like that it's a whole new experience here for us. Like I've seen a Mandalorian take blaster bolts and fighting on all the like troopers and stuff. What would a normal person do? They would do this heist. You know what I mean? Like you see that stormtrooper goes running up to save Val and take like the former stormtrooper and takes one shot and drops, and that's it. He said,
yeah.
"There's no fanfare. There's no like music or like slow down or like people are crying. It's like he's dead. Just keep going. You know what I mean?" And I think even with Val making that decision with Namek, it's like he's dying. Like we're not stopping. Not because like it's like not in the plan. It's just there's no point. He's gonna die.
Also, when would you ideally get someone into Star Wars? Like, at what age?
Well, I guess that depends too. If that's the question we're asking. So we're going off
Because
the chart here.
let's jump back in comments in 1 second. I just want Andor's definitely not a kid show, right? You would agree?
Hmm.
And George Lucas himself has said Star Wars is for kids. So, therefore, Andor is definitely not the show to show someone as a Star Wars show.
Okay, but if you're showing a kid, like a kid might get into like Young
Clone
Jedi
Wars or
Adventures.
whatever. Yeah, and I agree. I still wouldn't show, even if they were 5 years old, I wouldn't show them Clone Wars, even though they're probably going to enjoy the Clone Wars more. I'm going to show them one of the first 6 movies, and I'm going to stand by that.
Okay,
I don't think anything else should be shown as
so
a first time
here's
Star
my
Wars.
thought on Andor. If I can put this together, Andor is made to bring people in
That's crazy.
because Andor is about a character from Rogue One, which is a reference to the old original series. Okay, like Rogue One leads into A New Hope.
Yeah.
We see Vader, Leia, all that stuff. Okay, so that's like the fan service movie. That's like the big like tribute for the fans. It's a good movie. The first half is a little slow, but like it's a good movie. If you're getting a kid into Star Wars, you're going to show them the kid show that we have. If you're getting fans into like the TV, there's shows for fans. This show is meant that like I think you could sit down with someone who like has a vague recognition of like anything Star Wars and just get them to watch the show and just be like, it's a good show. And when I say an intro, I mean like it's an introduction into like the Star Wars universe, like not into like, okay, like now we're gonna start watching these movies in this order. So like, hey, do you like this? Like the little guy against like the big like evil corporation. Like cool. Well, there's more movies where like they take him down, and there's some movies where like they come to power, and like there's movies where they come back from the dead, and it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So as an introduction, it's not like okay, the first Star Wars, A New Hope, obviously like introduces the whole series the best. I mean, like this is a good like starter for someone who's like unsure of Star Wars. Like you are with like these RPGs, like I don't want to do all this stuff. Maybe someone doesn't want to watch all these Star Wars movies, but you could have them watch Andor, be like, it was a good show. Like that thing with like the I can't use spoilers, but I like that heist part. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. I just, yeah. Okay, let's catch up on some comments.
So I do love Andor though, better than Obi-Wan for sure. 100%. Like Obi-Wan doesn't do anything for the series. Andor is like an explanation of like Mon Mothra and the rebel financing and like the rebel cause
it's
and
world building.
Cassie. Yes, absolutely. Kenobi doesn't do that.
No,
Kenobi is world
but
destroying.
world building is not introduction. It's
Yeah, it is.
no, it's not.
World building is introduction because
If anything, this is the most fan service show. If we want to go down that route, because only a diehard fan is going to enjoy this.
we don't need to
If
know any
they
of the
want
characters.
that in-depth story about the creation of the rebellion.
I mean, like we're just seeing a fight. We're just seeing a little
And if
guy.
you want to know how the officer feels when he goes home to his mom as they sit and eat cereal, like that's like what the hell are we doing?
Oh,
We're
that's so
spending
exciting.
we're spending hundred and something $1 million, couple $100,000 a minute to watch Buddy argue with his mom about what Uncle Tom said to do, or Uncle Henry. It's like we can't even come up with a friggin' better name for this. Like it's
Uncle
boring.
Harlow or Harlow.
Harlow sounds too earthy.
Well, I like because it's showing us the humanity in this guy and how like the Empire has stripped his only identity. The only thing he had was being this Morlun officer. And like that was his world, man. He like modified his uniform and like was going out like and all of a sudden, you even said it. He was doing something right. He was doing the right thing. He was hunting down this murderer. And what does he get for it? He gets fired. He loses his job. Everyone he knows loses their job. And he has to go move in with his mom, like the age of like 20 or 30, whatever he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That to me is like, yeah, it's not exciting. I don't want to like see the stormtrooper go home to his family, but I want to like look at the effects on the Empire, on everyone. This is like where the descent starts. Like this is why people like dislike them or dislike the rebellion. You know what I mean?
Is this guy gonna join the cause?
Just watch a show, man.
Bro, I just feel like it's not. Again, I think I said this last week. I'm in it for the fun. I'm in it for
We're
the
not gonna read
action. I'm
that
in it
last
for
comment.
the I'm in it for the like fun of the series.
This is
I'm
fun,
not in it to watch some dude be depressed at his mom's dinner table. Like
but it's world building.
We don't see Vader crying in his friggin' bacta chamber, like,
No,
he was proud of me.
we see him
We see him
crying in
there
episode 2.
slaughtering people, and
He cries in 2.
we see Anakin cry. That's different. This is this is when he loses his mom. This is like,
This is Andor becoming the
no, this is Cyril, the random officer that no one cares about, complaining to his mom because he doesn't want to take Uncle Henry's friggin' advice while he eats his Reese Puffs.
this show is all about the choices that like guide us, like
Dude.
make us like.
Dude,
All right.
this is so boring
For the
compared
4
to
of you
Star
watching,
Wars.
thank you for letting us drawn out. But like I don't know. We haven't finished it yet, so there's even points that
Correct.
you've said that like do get addressed. Like
Yeah.
there is some space stuff that I think is some of the coolest we've seen. There are bigger fights that I think are done on such a scale that like we've built up to like we saw what 6 guys fighting like 6 or 7 or 8 guys was like or like an even you know what I mean like we're kind of getting this feel and this scale. So then when you go see like Jedi jumping around, you're like, oh, holy shit, like what they're doing is impressive. Pardon my language. You know what I mean? Like it puts in perspective, like this is what a human can do.
But I don't want to see it on that level. And it could
You
just be
think
me.
by seeing that levels, it gives you, okay, it's like the money. If we didn't have an idea of how much the Mon Cala ship, saying 80 million credits doesn't give us any perspective, right? But then when we go like a Mon Cala ship is $1 million, holy crap, they can buy like almost.
I get what you're saying there. So we
You know what I
see
mean?
the same perspective when it's like a regular dude versus a Jedi. I get that. So it's like the stormtroopers are pretty cool and they are pretty bad, but the Jedi can walk through them like they're nothing. So yeah, it shows
Right?
how awesome the Jedi are. I get what you're saying.
So even in this, it's like how like the different levels of Empire are so inept. So like how the system is able to like have you know cracks in the armor, and how like the rebellion is actually supposed to like.
So would you want to play a Star Wars video game where you're like a terrible shot, you don't get better, you're kind of boring, just mopey, depressed dude, walk around, you just go complain to everybody.
But he's not. He
No,
gets.
no, no, but I'm trying to just like, because in every video game, you're this awesome, super wicked character that's got all these cool moves and you get better throughout the game. But games are meant to be played like, because you're a cool person. But if you were just the average dude, nobody would play that game.
But there's a lot of games that are like that, where you're an average person doing extraordinary things. So I think in this perspective, like I see Andor and what he's doing, and he's like, this is like a bounty hunter, a scoundrel. So when I see Han Solo, it's like Han Solo is a legendary scoundrel and bounty. Like the stuff that he's done is legendary. It's
Yeah.
it's the stuff of like Tails and Miss and like that makes him that much cooler, and it doesn't take away from Andor. You know what I mean? Like, why does Han just go for the money? That's how scoundrels and like these people are. Like you see him, like
Yeah.
Andor. No, I'm not in this for the cause. Just like Han says, like I'm in this for. Then what does Han do in the second movie?
He switches.
So what do you like? We know that Andor is going to switch because he like
Yeah.
does everything for the cause. He gives his life to stop the Death Star
Yeah.
on Scarif, and you're like, how did we go from this guy to this guy?
But no one asked for that.
But I like it's like a case study on like the humanity behind like what it would be like to live on
Behind
this
Andor.
no, but just to live in the universe. Like the Cyril stuff is more of like a reflection of like what the day to day like work would be. Like that planet Coruscant is so overpopulated. Like when he's going down those elevators, all the buildings look the same. It's all like you would know nothing but that lifestyle. You know what I mean? You would turn into a robot living like that.
You would.
And like his mom just sounds like the most annoying, stereotypical. Like I have a terrible life, and my son's gonna have a better one, so I can be proud of that.
Yeah.
So he's like so focused on his career, then he loses his career, he loses everything, and like he has no safety net.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's a bitch to him. She's terrible,
Yeah.
right?
I'm gonna call Uncle Henry.
Right? So we see the perspective from everyone.
You can pick some random person who has never seen Star Wars and say, "Hey,
Oh,
I've got a
please
great
not.
show. You should check it out about rebellion and human nature and endurance." You can't say, "Hey, I have this show that is going to be a great introduction into the world of Star Wars. It will set you off on the right path to be ready for the rest of Star Wars." That's a dang good way of putting it.
Well, I think she's very right in what she's saying there. I'm assuming it's a she with Queen Fireheart. Don't know on my YouTube.
I think like it's just it. That's a good. That's a dang good, like a damn good way of putting it. Like if you don't want a show that's like all of Star Wars, watch this. It's still set in the Star Wars universe, but it's not like the rest of Star Wars. It's not. You can't agree it is. It's not. It's so different, and I think every point you've just made is proven that it's different.
But I don't know. I feel different. I feel like, we see these troopers shooting at each other. So when someone sees, episode one afterwards and they seem stormtroopers, they seem that much more terrifying. Like
Did
they
you ever
should
play Republic Commando?
for the GameCube, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
So that game I'm going to compare it to Andor because every other game you play this awesome character and you walk through these troopers, right? You play a Jedi. Trooper means nothing to you. You play Republic Commando, a super battle droid, you're like, holy. Now, two of them, you're like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. There's no way I'm getting past this mission unless you command all your troops perfectly, whatever. It's unlike any other video game in that way. It's so dang hard because you play a different perspective. That's what this is. You play a smaller perspective. Like you play a clone versus a Jedi, or a clone versus a Sith, or whoever you're playing, Kyle Katarn, whatever it may be. You're so much less powerful, so much less. You have no force. You can't jump as high. You have no lightsaber. You have no block. You're just out there in the open as a random soldier. It's totally different than any other video game. I think Andor is that. It's totally different than any other Star Wars, and it's on a much lower level. Like, if you want to go see the way she put it, like the build up of the rebellion and the humanity side of Andor, and it's like, no, I want to go see Hymir behead 3 Jedi and shish kebab the other 3. Like
Well,
that's what
that
I'm in
didn't go
this
over
for.
too well.
Yeah, for everybody else. 75,000 votes on the friggin' petition or whatever. Let's go.
But if you
Save
watch
the acolyte.
Acolyte, do you feel like that eases you into Star Wars more? If
Yeah,
you watch Acolyte and
I
then A
feel
New
like
Hope,
that.
are you going to be like, what
I
the hell
feel
is going
like
on here?
the acolyte is more like Star Wars than Andor.
I can't even right now.
Dude, 100% it is.
Look at the ship interior. You
Yeah,
even
that was
called it
amazing.
so we have only seen I forget what it's called, the lever check or
Yeah,
laser
but
check.
the world building on Acolyte was great too.
Yeah, but okay, this this show feels like a universe. The cut to Aldhani, the mountainsides, the greenery, the stark whiteness of like the ISB building, like the uniformity and like the monotone of everything, the conformity of all like the housing on Coruscant, like the way it jumps around to everything, and then we see like the lavish lifestyles, like the like I. Even the way they were cutting back, like they were talking about, like, oh, walk like an Imperial, and the scene cuts to like Imperials on Ferris.
Yeah,
Venice? Oh my god, I can
Ferrex.
Ferrex. Thank you. I can't say it. Um, like the shots are done well. Like I don't know. Whatever. Hate me. I like this show. I think it's really good.
No, I think
On a
I'm in the
second
minority
watch,
here.
I'm really enjoying it. Maybe it's not a great introduction. I think it's just a great TV show.
Everyone's gonna hate me for saying that
Okay,
the Acolyte is a
here's
better introduction than Andor.
here's what I meant by that. I can now articulate my thoughts. Andor is a great TV show, and a great TV show is a good way to get someone into a series of movies and animated TV shows, and all this other stuff. Like,
I agree.
in that, yeah, there's probably a better medium, and I've said this in the past. Like, yeah, go show 'em Empire Strikes Back. That's a really cool movie, or Attack, whatever. But like, it's just good television. It's filmed well. There's like money in the budget. Like, this feels like there's way more money than Kenobi, right?
Well, there was.
Like the
Kenobi was
Aldhani,
like 50 million or something crazy. It was so low.
right? So that's insane. So like, I feel the money on this. I feel the scale. The effects are all great. That when we turned it up, when the Tie Fighter takes like
It's
that's
beautiful.
right. It's a thing of beauty.
It's
So
beautiful.
it's a good television show, and that's a good way to get someone into
I
it.
feel like everything that was beautiful was taken from the real Star Wars universe, though.
Means it's a great introduction, because then it's like
Where like the Acolyte introduced cool new things.
I don't know.
Chimere,
Introducing too
live
much is not
action
good for new people.
cortosis, live action crystal bleeding. Wookiee Jedi.
You saw a Kyber crystal today and you got excited.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Not as cool as when the Acolyte did it.
Okay, so let's bring this video back around to just the Aldhani arc.
Yeah.
So, and these we'll read some comments here.
Do you want?
No,
Okay, all right. I think I could write a okay, wait. You can say, yeah. I think I could have a 10-page essay on Andor, and it would be about human nature, human perspective, pride, and the downfall of those who are prideful. There are so many moments of pride and arrogance that you might not even be picking up in the show. Small moments of pride, like Aldhani Garrison Commander worrying about his belt not tightening. It is an absolutely fantastic show. It's a beautiful show. I want it to be noted. I said it was beautiful before y'all did.
no, it is like it's all stunning. Like the way that he's grown pompous and fat and spoiled, and like his uniform doesn't fit, and his son doesn't want to wear his imperial uniform. So you see the dissent in his own family, and the wife is agreeing like, "Oh, he's sick," and the guy's like, "You're always saying he's sick."
Yeah.
So in that little bit of dialogue, you get this feeling like this kid. This is not the first time something like this has happened, and like this is not his first reaction. You see the distrust, the disdain, like you know. I think it's a beautiful show.
It is a good show so far.
So the
But
Aldhani arc. This hour and a half, we'll say, or maybe hour and 15 minutes.
it
What do you
was
think?
definitely longer than that. Bro, the one episode was like 54 minutes. Take off the credits or for
Credits
like
in an
8
extra
minutes.
7. Okay. Okay, so let's say this is an hour and a half.
Sure.
It's a pretty good movie. If you took this just as a movie right now and you just like sat down and
Eh.
but it's
Eh.
not part of the movie. It's we're only 6 episodes into a series.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like
And
it's
like I've said many times, I'm not going to fully judge it until it's done, until I see the full thing.
and then you're just gonna love it. He's gonna love it.
Hopefully. I would love to love it. I think that's what the goal is. But it's so dang hard to love it when they put so much effort into this show and no effort into the shows that really matter.
So then why does it take away from the show?
Well, because I'm petty and that's frustrating.
Well, look at it this way.
Like,
They put a lot of money in the show, right?
oh yeah,
Well, this is the only show that has a second season right now.
that drives me freaking nuts.
Maybe it's because like if you put effort into it and the money and time, like you get a return. You get a good show that people want to watch. That like even if they haven't seen Star Wars, like okay, hey, I've heard this Andor show is pretty good. And then if someone watches it and goes, hey, I like this show. What else is there with Andor? Then you watch Rogue One because he's in it. And then you're like, oh, hey, I do like this. This is cool. Where do I watch more of this? Where do I watch more of the guy with the red lightsaber and the woman with the Danish hair buns? Boom! Now you're in Star Wars. Now you're watching episodes 4, 5, 6. Then you're going back to the see what I say? Introduction.
Yeah, but could you imagine being like, yo, Andor is the coolest, and then you see Darth Vader? You'd be like, huh, who started me with Andor?
No, but right, but wouldn't it make that dude so much cooler? It when you see so you watch Andor, and then when you get to Rogue One, and Vader cuts down a hallway of these guys, you'd be like, "Who the f- is this? What is this? Give me more of this. What is this?"
Yeah, but then you'd be mad that whoever showed you Andor to start out with.
It builds the excitement.
I don't know, bro.
I think I'm right. I think Queen's in denial. That no, I'm joking, but the intro thing, like that's what I mean. Like I think if you get into it, you'd be excited enough to watch more. So, anyways, let's wrap this up. It's been a long one. So, episodes 4, 5, and 6
They were decent.
better than 1, 2, and 3.
Hmm. I would say they're pretty comparable, honestly.
Okay.
I definitely think they're comparable in the same way where it's like one was super slow, two was a little bit better, three was decent.
So again, like a show, it's kind of got like its own natural. Where Acolyte was every episode was like there's a hook, there's a hook, there's a hook. This is like it ebbs and flows. Like, we get a slow one, but it picks up to a bigger one, and then a really big one, and it slows, and
Yeah.
like you know what I
And
mean.
maybe that's some people's style, but like tell you right now, it's just not my style.
That's fair.
Like I don't like the slow episodes in Mando. I want that I want that like pacing. I want that like keep you on the edge of your seat. Like
But I think that is Mando. I think like because Mando is supposed to be like a one-off, like the story of the week, or Andor is
yeah,
these.
yeah. I think like and again like I said this last week. Prison Break's one of my favorite shows, but that like is one of those ones where it's like every week you're just like, what is next? Like, how's he gonna get out of this? You know? Oh my god! Like, I just want to be stimming with those. Like,
Okay.
give me more, give me more, give me
Okay,
more. Like,
so let's put it. We're gonna put a poll up too because I want to find out if you like Andor. I want to know, though, being specific, like if you do and you don't, what's your age demographic? Is this like maybe
interesting.
geared towards maybe an older, slower audience? Like, because we've talked, you made a good point about this. This isn't a show that you would introduce to someone maybe a younger demographic. It's too slow.
Yeah,
Maybe this is to like pull older people in. That's like, oh, Star. I know what Star Wars is. I've heard of Dark
yeah,
Vader, and
yeah,
you know, and you're like, go watch this, and you're like, oh wow, this is actually like a pretty like
yeah. More political side of it, and
you know.
interesting.
So, anyways,
What are you watching next week? So actually, we don't have a full schedule right now, but we might be taking a couple weeks off. We'll let you guys know for sure. We'll make a post, but I've got some work to do on the other side of Canada, so I'll be traveling a little bit
yeah, and
and doing some fairs and whatnot. So
no one wants to listen to me talk to myself. For
if you
now.
do, drop it in the comments.
So yeah, we might be taking a break, but I think what we'll do is we'll try and return and figure out the next arc. I
Yeah.
think,
And then we were also talking we might watch Rogue One after this because I might have a different appreciation for Rogue One after this
yeah.
show.
So my intent is we're gonna finish Andor. I think it's two more kind of arcs. I
Yeah.
think there's like a 4 episode arc and like a 2 episode kind of like finale that ties in kind of everything. So whatever it is, we'll figure that out. We'll break that up, and then the next following week we'll watch Rogue One
Yeah.
and do a retrospect on Rogue One.
And then you know what should come after that because it only makes sense and we haven't done it yet.
Andor season 2.
Episode 4, A New Hope, on the big screen.
Okay, so to everyone that joined us this evening, we really appreciate you guys. Thank you for letting us ramble and spending your time with us.
100%.
To those that have been commenting, we really appreciate this. This is an interactive video, so if you're watching this after the fact, please comment as well because we do read them, and we do shoot videos discussing, even if you hate us. Actually, those are the best ones. But don't leave those.
Ryan and
Um,
his haterade.
yeah. Um, yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate everything. Yeah, we will post up a schedule soon of kind of our plans for the next little while,
Yep.
and we'll go from there.
All right. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you guys so much. See you later.